All right, guys, Hannah and I are at beautiful TPC Don Sante Bay this week in Mexico, and we're right now at their incredible practice area here and in the bunker. And today we're gonna talk about bunker shot and why we believe a lot of amateurs struggle in the bunker. Yep. So, Hannah, if you step to the side there, I'm gonna show exactly what I mean. So what Hannah and I see on a regular basis from amateurs in the bunkers is that we see players set up to the ball like they do on a normal wedge shot with a more narrow stance, and then they use the whole body pivot to desperately try to get that ball out of the bunker. So the first thing you have to realize when you step into the bunker is that you're stepping on a more unstable surface. What I mean by that is that it's harder to stay in balance when you're on a surface that's not firm. Think about it as standing on, for example, ice. Ice is also very unstable. You can't get a good footing on the ground. Same thing here in the bunker. So the first thing we have to adjust, Hannah, what is that?
I would say the thing I see across all of the good bunker players and just professionals in general is that they're always starting out with a wide base, and not only does that give you more stability, you can also preset your weight over here to the left, which, like we talked about, keeps you very centered on top of the golf ball. You don't have to worry about sliding back this way and then timing it to get back to the ball in time.
That's absolutely perfect. If you look at any good bunker players, that's exactly what you see. And Hannah mentioned it shortly there also. You see a very centered rotation. You don't see anyone move away from the golf ball, because if you do that, you got to move back the exact same amount, and that's very difficult to do on such a short motion and to do it consistently. So when you see players that stand with a narrow stance and they move a little bit off the golf ball, they're going to tend to put them out behind the golf ball very often, all right? Or you do the opposite, you move forward in the downswing and then you move the low point too much forward and you're going to top it, all right? So like Hannah said, set up with a wide setup, wide stance, almost hip and left knee more to the left, and then feel like you just you're locked in place there. And then in the bunker, you don't use really any lower body rotation. Okay, you want to keep the lower body very quiet because of the unstable surface. That's the easiest way to stay balanced, right? If you start torquing,
getting all the way to that finish.
Exactly. If you start torquing too much, you're gonna move around, okay? That's also why you see players kind of dig their feet in to make sure they're really stable.
Once you have those knees really wide, it's pretty much impossible to like start activating your lower body. It helps a lot.
Exactly. So if you want to stop using your lower body, have a wide stance. If you want to use it, you have a more narrow stance, right? That's exactly right. So wider stance, push the left knee forward, and now because we don't want to use the lower body, we have to create speed somewhere, right? So you see a lot of players use a lot of wrist action here. Okay, if you use the wrist, that's going to create a lot of speed, and if you can't use your lower body, that's an excellent power source. All right, so you see players use the wrist, set the wrist a lot, and you unset the wrist a lot in the bunker motion, and you have some rotation with the upper body, very limited with lower body. You never see bunker players, good bunker players, do this.
Nope.
Right?
No,
never.
Finishes down here.
Exactly. Hannah, show us how it's done here. All right, so Hannah's going to set up wider stance.
Really wide stance.
Preset.
I like to kind of point my knees out, and then I just lock myself into that left side.
And then
let the wrists do all the work.
Exactly. That it's in the hole for sure. Wow. All right, so what you saw there was Hannah using her arms and wrist a lot. You can see how much she kind of throws that club head through the turf to be able to use the bounce, and the ball came out absolutely perfect. I mean, that's spotless there. So copy Hannah. Also, hit one more here. Have a look at her head here, okay? So if you can see that Hannah's head stays in the exact same spot. You never see her kind of tilt that back to try to help the ball up in the air. Instead, it's very centered, like her body rotation, and she literally just swings her arms and wrists through the motion. I mean, go in the hole. Yes, sir. All right, guys, so copy Hannah's bunker motion. It's pretty much perfected by now. That's fantastic. I take some credit, but not all of the credit.
Yeah, you definitely taught me all that.
So please do that. Have a more stable base. Listen to these advices, and you're going to become a lot more consistent in the bunker.